Today I got a story time for you guys about probably one of the weirdest, strangest emo kids to ever exist. So yeah, I don't know, get something to eat, get comfortable, subscribe if you're new, and let's call today's subscriber who submitted the story, let's call her Claire. So this takes place during Claire's class, right? During school, she was in class, and there's this boy that Claire was talking to, and she kind of liked him, right? Hey man, it happens, life happens. Let's call this guy Ben because I'm not creative, man. There's also another girl in Claire's class, and we're just gonna call her the emo girl. And Claire didn't know this at the time, but she really did know this. She really got to know this pretty soon, but at the time, she didn't know that the emo girl had a massive crush on Ben, right? And part of me feels for the emo girl a little bit. Like, I've definitely been in situations where in middle school I had a crush on this girl and she was obviously talking to another guy that would have definitely gotten her. Like that I was not the one for her, some other guy was. It sucks, man. It really does. I'm not going to say it doesn't. However, it doesn't justify the actions that you'll see in this video, which are pretty crazy. But anyways, right, so this all started one day when Claire was talking to Ben, and she was sitting there, she's talking to Ben, and it kind of seemed like Ben was going to like her back, and he was very engaged talking to her, like they were flirting a lot. And this is when, Claire, kind of spaced out a little bit. When you're looking at someone and then you kind of space out a little bit and you look at all the stuff behind them when your focus of vision kind of changes and shifts. So she kind of spaced out a little bit and looked behind Ben, and she very briefly made eye contact with this emo girl in her class. If you dress emo, this video is not against you. I think the style is totally fine and I like you either way. As long as you don't act like this emo girl, then you're totally fine. So basically, right, this girl had super long dyed black hair. She was a natural, a brunette a year ago, but then she dyed it all black. She wears all these goth skull rings or whatever, and it's kind of the style, you know what I mean. And sure enough, this emo girl that Claire doesn't really talk to just because they were never really friends is just staring into the pits of her souls, dude. The pits of her souls, staring into I don't know what I'm trying to say. They were just deeply staring at her, very, very kind of angrily. And Claire quickly breaks eye contact because I don't know, man, she's not trying to she's just I'm not engaging with this. Let's hope that's a coincidence. Claire completely forgets about that and goes back to talking with Ben, right? And so sure enough, she's talking to Ben. She's flirting, whatever, right? Insert flirtatious conversation. And by the end of the conversation, the bell rings or whatever, and Claire leaves to go to either recess, lunch, another class. I don't know specifically what, but whatever it was, she leaves to go and do it. And the emo girl quickly follows behind her. The emo girl was kind of far behind her in class, so the emo girl is speed walking towards her. And Claire is kind of thinking, oh boy, I guess that eye contact earlier today was not an accident. It was not a mistake. You know how you sometimes I know I'll do this. I'll space out and not even pay attention and then realize I've been staring at someone for 5 minutes. And I'm just oh my God, I'm so sorry. I swear I'm just zoning out. And Claire was kind of hoping that the emo girl just happened to be accidentally staring into her soul through her pupils. But yeah, it was not an accident because the emo girl walks up to her, is hey, we gotta talk. And Claire's okay. And the emo girl is I don't know if you know this, but Ben is mine. He is my boyfriend, and I don't want to see you start talking to him. And Claire is really taken aback because at first she's oh, wait, is Ben dating someone? I've talked to all my friends, and I'm pretty sure, because Claire made sure beforehand that, Ben wasn't dating anyone, so she could kind of show that she was interested and not get rejected or whatever. And she was pretty sure that he wasn't dating anyone, and also if he was to date someone, Claire didn't really think that the emo girl was his type, but she was oh, so you're dating him? And the emo girl is well, not yet. But he's mine! Don't question my authority on this matter. You will suffer the consequences if you want to steal my boyfriend away from me. And Claire's just what do you mean, your boyfriend? So you guys are dating or aren't dating? She's well, not yet, but super soon. It's totally happening. And the thing is, Claire, you're just getting in the way of this. You're getting in the way of what is meant to be. I was performing a spell last night, and in my cauldron, I got like the spirits told me that Ben and I are meant to be together. And if you want to get in the way of spirits and magic, well then, by all means, like go ahead and curse yourself. But I'm just letting you know that if you get in between Ben and I becoming boyfriend and girlfriend and soon to be husband and wife forever, then you will regret it. And the emo girl kind of like hunches over and like shuffles away. And Claire was just stunned, to say the least. She was kind of just at a loss for words at this point because it's not every day that, you're walking around and, the emo girl in your class, if you have one, comes up to you and says that, yeah, by the way, the gods of magic literally said that, that guy that you're talking to, that he and I are meant to be together and that we are actually boyfriend and girlfriend, even though we aren't. So stay away, bro. And then shuffle away. That's just not a day-to-day occurrence. I don't know, but maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But sure enough, Claire kind of was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be bullied out of talking to this guy that I like. Like, I'm not going to be bullied out of it, man. Like, that's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? And Claire's like, you know what? I think I'm just going to, keep talking to this guy. I think I just am. So the next day rolls around, and the only class that Claire has with Ben is the class that she has with the emo girl. So it's not like Claire could really talk to Ben a lot in other classes. However, Claire does talk to him every kind of like lunch break. They get lunch together, and the emo girl doesn't eat lunch in the lunchroom, so I don't think she knows, or if she does, she's not trying to see that. Fair enough, I guess. But sure enough, Claire, Ben comes over to Claire because they kind of were talking every single day. I don't think the emo girl's ever spoken to Ben before, but they're about to be boyfriend and girlfriend, guys. Stop hating. No, but so Ben comes over just like every other day, and Claire was a little bit weird, and Ben's like, "Are you good?" And she's like, "Yeah, actually it's nothing. Sorry, I was just spacing out." In reality, Claire was like, "Okay, this will be interesting," because she notices the emo girl is intensely staring at her, right? Just looking at her so angrily. And as Ben walks over, and when Ben sits down, her brow furrows, and she lifts up her hand and like crunches it into a fist of rage, like that Arthur meme where it's like his fist is all balled up. Like so Claire was distracted by that, obviously, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm just spacing out." So Claire and Ben, they continue to talk, and they flirt a lot as always. Claire's kind of getting a feeling that Ben's gonna try and make a move at some point kind of soon, just by kind of the natural progression over the last couple weeks. And Claire's all for that, man. I mean, she was kind of like trying to put herself out there so that Ben would hopefully come around and ask her out or something. Sure enough, the bell rings again, and Claire is kind of like power walks out of there. She grabs her bag quickly. She's like, "Aha, Ben, I'll see you in the next one." Because Ben and her go to totally different directions, so it's not like she can walk with Ben. And so Claire is like power walking out of there because she's like, "All right, emo girl is coming for me, man." Like because Claire wasn't looking at the emo girl, but she could just feel it. Like she had kind of like the raid boss music going on. She's like, "Oh man, I gotta get out of here, dude. Final boss encroaching, man. Like I gotta get out of here." So she grabs her backpack, quickly like puts it on her shoulder and starts to like not sprint out of the classroom, man. Her teacher would have been like, "Stop running, stop it, stop." But sure enough, right now, the emo girl was just as fast and just as intent to be talking to Claire. And she comes up to Claire. She's like, "You didn't heed my warning. You didn't listen to me." And Claire goes, "Dude, I don't know you, but it doesn't seem like you and Ben ever talk. I don't think you're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. You threatening me with your magic powers or whatever is not going to make me stop talking to this guy, dude. Like, can you go away?" And the emo girl is like, "Fine, but just know that I will give you one last warning." And Claire's like, "Oh boy," kind of rolls her eyes or whatever. And the emo girl's like, "If I see you talking with him again, it is on sight." And Claire's like, "Bro, what?" "What?" "Huh?" And the emo girl's all like, "Stop laughing at me. It's not funny. It's serious. I will give you one last chance. and this is your final opportunity to cease your terrible behavior, or you, yes you, Claire, will suffer the consequences. And Claire's just like, oh my God, you can't, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Like, there's no chance. So she's like, okay, thanks for talking to me. Is that all? And the emo girl's like, yes. One last chance. Don't forget it. Don't you forget it. One last chance. And once again, emo girl scuffles off. Little spoiler, Claire does not listen to the emo girl. And the next day in class, the emo girl does something completely crazy. But real quick, comment emo down below if you want to heart in your comment, as that is the secret word of the day, and I will try and heart your comment to say thank you. And also, if you want to support the channel, binge watch videos, or just watch a bunch of videos after this one, or in your free time when you're drawing, about to go to bed, playing video games, go watch one of the playlists. I got emo kid playlist, spoil kid playlist, and if you do, comment down below so I can personally say thank you, as it really does help. And also, profile pic army looking strong. So you thought that was it for the craziness from this emo girl, that going up and threatening that the evil gods of spells and magic and wizardry she will suffer the consequences. You thought that was bad? No. Pause, bro. You're not even close to what's about to happen, because the next day it rolls around. Okay, I keep saying that like that's something crazy. Oh no, the next day happens. Time is linear, rah. But anyways, right? Next day rolls around. Claire goes into class. And she makes sure that she's talking to Ben, and she makes sure that the emo kid, or the emo girl specifically, is seeing this. And Claire's kind of like a little bit upset, because she's like, you know what? This girl is bossing me around. I'm not standing for it. So Claire decides that, she's just going to make a move. Like, she's going to make a move. So anyways, Claire is talking with Ben. And, she sees that the emo girl is at an angle where she can see both of them pretty clearly. And so Claire looks at the emo girl in the eyes. This is a little mean, I'm not gonna lie. However, it is kind of justified, since the emo girl was like threatening to pull up or square up, or like it's on site if you talk to him, or talking crazy or whatever. So this is a little bit justified, not saying it's not mean, but Claire is kind of like, oh, Ben, like, tell me about you or whatever. And what Claire does is she puts her hand on like a Ben's leg or whatever, kind of like as an indication of like, I like you. Don't go ahead and do this. Especially like you got to ask people first. Like, you can't go around just putting your hands on people, bro. As the Connor Pugs endorsement, don't do this. But anyways, like, I mean, she already talked it, like, either way she does it. And Ben reciprocates very nicely back, and Ben kind of like puts his hand on her chair, right? When you're like in the classic movie theater scene where it's like you reach your hand behind them to like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. And the emo girl legitimately snaps, dude. She freaking snaps. And you're probably thinking she's gonna go up and put a spell on them, or she's gonna like go raw and like sprint to the bathroom to have explosive diarrhea. No, none of those things are true. You know what this girl does? When she said it's on site, she meant it. Because Claire, one moment, was like kind of relaxing in the company of her soon-to-be boyfriend, spoiler, Ben. In the next moment, she was on the ground. Do you know why? Because the emo girl freaking tackled her, dude. The emo girl got so angry at the sight of them, like, basically, they weren't holding hands, but they were, like, same level of, like, romantic intimacy as holding hands. She was so mad at that sight that the emo girl legitimately got up out of her seat, buckled her head down, sprinted like a D1 quarterback, and knocked Claire out of, like, tackled Claire, basically, and was like, and started hissing. So right now, Claire's on the ground, the emo girl is on top of her, Ben is sitting there in complete shock, like, what? And everyone in the class turns around, including the teacher. Because they were supposed to be like reading a book or something in pairs. None of this nonsense was supposed to be going down. So the teacher is just like, what's going on over here? And the emo girl is like hissing the entire time. It's like, I told you it was on site. Stay away from my boyfriend. And Ben is just so confused. And Claire's like covering her face because the emo girl is like very faintly, but still trying to like claw at her. It's like don't like with their big like you know, kind of like in Pokemon, like Meowth, or I forgot the cat Pokemon that like Team Rocket has. You know how that like it has scratch attack that does like -1 damage? That was kind of the equivalent of what like the emo girl was doing to Claire. So no damage was done, but it was very strange. And sure enough, you know, Claire at the next moment feels the sensation of the emo girl leaving her body, like being picked up. So she opens her eyes and she sees the emo girl is literally being dragged away by the teacher and dragged out of the classroom. And Claire gets up and Ben looks at her with just this look of, huh? And at this point, Claire's like, Ben, I got some explaining to you. I got some explaining to do. And Claire explains everything that I just told you. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.